Now I bet you can sit down and draw something even better than this.
Yo, welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Wolf Nara here, back to bring you another video. Today we have something I don't really do that often. It's more of a review for chapter 991 of One Piece. And this is due to the fact that, nigga, the scans that I had before, nigga, they was trash.
Shut your dumb ass up.
So I actually woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning because, nigga, it wasn't planned, nigga. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just do my review now, just start working on it. But anyway, that's besides the point. So let's get started with the review or the analysis itself of chapter 991. So, with chapter 991, the first thing that pretty much happened was the continuation of the end of the chapter after Drake's one shot at one of the numbers. Drake thought about his conversation with Coby after he looked at Luffy. Coby described Luffy as a friend when Luffy is close, but when he's an enemy, Luffy feels so out of reach. Just basically saying that if he's if he's an ally, you can definitely rely on this guy, but if he's an enemy, you gonna get your ass whooped, nigga. It's not none of that, you feel me? So now with that taken into consideration, once he's seen that Luffy was pretty much part of the raid, like, you know what, wait, that's Coby, friend. Okay, I'm gonna put my trust in you because of the fact I put my trust in Coby and Coby trusts you. And that's one of those sort of things. And so pretty much Zoro interrupts Drake's conversation with Luffy by initially clashing with Drake. It wasn't really like a serious clash, it was just like a clash so that way they could kind of communicate with each other. Everybody was just like, for even like Jim B stated, like even amongst pirates there's honor, so don't get close to Luffy. Other people were just like, yo, we not trusting this asshole. And then Luffy was just like, nah, we gonna trust this guy, okay? We gonna trust this nigga. Don't worry, I'm gonna whoop his ass if he betray us. Don't worry, we trust him, okay? And so with that being said, after that happened, page 1 and Ulti appears again in the chapter in which they tried to interrupt the interaction between Drake and Straw Hat because they seen that Drake was talking to Straw Hat and it was kind of questioning it, not knowing what just took place on the platform. And so with that being said, page 1 tried to charge at Luffy full zone form, nigga. He was gonna get beat the fuck up again, but Ussop stopped him with the I think it was like the plant skull or the exploding skull prophecy he has and shit, in which he starts hiding behind Nami, just like, you know, comic relief. So when he started hiding behind Nami, start talking his shit, that's when Ulti looked over there.
We have a brother or sister that's half whole.
Ulti in page 1, I should say, versus Nami and Ussop. So it kind of got me thinking about the fight in of itself, and like the potential outcome for the fight. So for this fight, I believe Ussop himself would develop his observation haki more than what it was before, or the latter, which would be like he starts to learn armament haki as well, in which he's able to imbue the poppy seeds with the armament haki, just like the bold woman did on Amazon Lily. So that way he's able to actually affect devil fruit users, because even with the poppy seeds he has now, he still wouldn't technically be able to hit Kizaru and would still be in the same situation he was in back in Saboti Archipelago. So if he was to get armament haki, I wouldn't really be too mad at that. But if he was to develop his observation haki, that's more beneficial to a sniper. So it all depends on what Oda wants to do with that. I wouldn't really be mad, but we also have Nami in this situation, okay? And so with Nami, she's gonna obviously fight Ulti, but one thing with Ulti is her headbutt. And Luffy himself, we didn't see Luffy headbutt motherfuckers since the beginning of the series. Gum Bell, let's get that out the way. But with Luffy, he clashed with Ulti's head, but he initially had to have armament haki on to deal with the clash. So, and even then they both were still forced back. So now, which should Nami get? Should she get armament or should she get observation? Nami kind of fits both. She can get armament or observation. Armament will be, well, observation would be better because she is the navigator of the crew. However, in this situation, she has been fighting a lot of fucking Yonkos. Like she didn't fucking drop lightning on Big Mom. She didn't drop lightning on the couple of motherfuckers of Orochi. But due to the fact that she doesn't have armament, she's not really even though it's weird. armament is weird because it's supposed to mostly be effective towards low gear because you're able to make them tangible because they're intangible, but it's also able to increase the amount of damage that's done to all Devil Fruit users in general. So if she was to get that and is able to mix that with Zeus in some sort of way, or this climb attack staff in some sort of way, that would actually upgrade her character at a combat perspective, in which, nigga, I'm all for a Nami upgrade. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. So let me see. Now, the next thing that happened was Franky versus Haachan prediction. Nigga, I was right during the BBB podcast. Nigga, if you been to the channel, or if you was a part of the channel before, you feel me, you know we got the podcast for One Piece, the BBB Billion Berry Bounty podcast, you feel me, featuring me and Tony D Prophecy. And I did say, and Tony did agree, that Franky should be fighting the numbers. I believe that his strength is relative to the numbers. And Chopper also should be fighting the numbers, in my opinion. We don't know what Chopper is doing at this current point in time, but we know Franky is leading the Haachan out of the dome so that way he can fight him with General Franky. Personally, I don't want General Franky to be the downfall of Haachan. I would rather have like Haachan deal with General Franky, like mid-death deal with General Franky, then Franky actually pop out, and then he actually has to fight Ors, pretty much, because what Luffy did say last chapter was the numbers are pretty much reminiscent of Ors or Thriller Bark, in which it took all of them to take him down. I would love to see how Luffy just one-shotted him, but it would also be great for power scaling if Franky were to struggle with one of the numbers. Okay, so I definitely kind of enjoy that. And it's weird that Nami and Ussop is fighting one of the Toby Ropel, but Franky and them is fighting the numbers. Franky even said it himself. He said that he doesn't have enough cola to deal with 10 numbers. One should be enough, and he's maybe out of cola. So with Armament Haki, he's able to at least still do more stuff even without cola. The next thing is fucking Apu. Apu is up again. He tried to snake him. It's two things that could have happened. Either Luffy predicted that Apu was about to do the sound attack again, in which he just told everybody to cover their ears, or Luffy heard him pretty much get up and was about to start, because pretty much before Apu initiate his attack, because it is a AoE attack and it doesn't really have friendly fire on, but he heard Apu start screaming and getting up and shit. But I would like to kind of think, because it was kind of out of nowhere and he's got this little glint by his eye, the sound effect was by his eye, that it was a foresight sight to a future sight. So that's what I'm going to believe personally. But you can pretty much argue either or. So now, nigga, when Zoro and Apu was still clashing, well, I said Zoro and Apu, when Zoro and Drake was still clashing and they seen Apu, they pretty much attempted to swing at Apu, and Drake was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna finish this nigga, not for y'all, but for me. And Zoro was like, you know what, I accept this nigga Drake as a teammate, fuck it, we on teams now. And then Apu went to go wake up some numbers, and Queen ups a Gatling gun, and so everybody dodges the Gatling gun. Drake did say one thing, he was like, wait, what? And so I'm guessing the Gatling gun, the bullets themselves are all sea stone bullets in that Gatling gun, because we do know that, nigga, sea stone prison pretty much comes from Wano. It is mined in Wano, so for them to be pretty much utilizing the sea stone prison like this would make the most sense, literally. So now we got Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, the Dukes. You feel me? The Dukes themselves stumps the fuck out of Jack, and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Do we have any intel on that?
Any what?
Intel. Intelligence, nigga. Keep up.
If you don't like it, this is why it makes sense. The entire time in Zod, they had the confrontation with Jack. However, their forces were divided by half, and their attack power was divided by half. I kind of considered Nekomamushi and Inuarashi as a pair. So I believe that when they said that they had an argument and they just refused to work together from here on out, that was them pretty much divvying up their power. So when Jack had to fight Inuarashi in a day, and he pretty much held them off the entire day, and then Nekomamushi came in at night, him, Nekomamushi and his forces held off Jack during the night, so they pretty much kept doing this. So it was pretty much like a standstill the entire time. Everyone had to retreat to a certain point. Everyone had to come back and fight again. So with that being said, if both of them are there, both of their forces are there, full force of Binks, and they're all in Sulong, and Nekomamushi and Inuyarashi is in Sulong, it would be bad power scaling for nigga Jack to actually beat both of them, or even be able to stand a chance. Because if you actually notice, they didn't even have a scratch on them from Jack.
Is something wrong?
No. Everything's cool right now. Might be some problems later, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Although Jack was fighting the normal Binks as well before Inuyarashi and Nekomamushi jumped in suddenly last chapter, because they did jump in out of nowhere. It wasn't like they called Jack, they seen Jack like fucking up the Binks and then they just jumped in. And so I didn't really mind that part. Jack is an awakened zone in my opinion, because we didn't see this nigga tank some shit and just get back up and like, I'm good. So that's pretty much what Oda's gonna do. I believe that Jack is not gonna be put down until around the last final confrontation. Like, Jack has to be put down before King, pretty much. Not necessarily Queen, but he has to be put down for sure before King. And so with that being said, I wouldn't really mind him coming back and retreating. We know he's not going to be at full force. The next person he's going to fight is going to be a downgrade. Kid has more motive to fight Queen. However, if Jack gets in the way, nonetheless, that still is preventing him from his goal. So I'd be okay with, you know, Kid taking care of Jack. I'll be all right with that. It gives him some shine. Even if he doesn't do it by himself, I'd be kind of mad if he don't do it by himself. If it was Queen, he'd have to have like him and Law or him and Luffy. I'd be cool with that. But, you know, they could do it by themselves. That's cool. But I kind of figured that this is an all-out war, meaning that what Luffy said in the previous Whole Cake Island arc is going to come into play, where it doesn't matter if it's a 2v 1,000, run up, get done up. Like, I can't really get mad if I'm underprepared, in which they are. They're outman 25,000 people. So let me see the next thing, which is like the most epic part of the chapter. Nigga, Kinemon cuts Kaido's blast breath. And dog, I believe that was pretty much an amazing moment. However, it didn't really come as a surprise to me as much. I just thought it was just like real tight how Oda drew this panel. But when we was initially introduced to Kinemon, he was introduced as being able to cut fire. So that's why I was just like, oh, okay, so he actually cut the fire, and he did it with relatively ease. The only thing that was really amazing besides the artwork was his response to it. Although Kaido had to charge up the blast and then he shot it, because you could see that Kaido was charging up the blast and Kinemon already was jumping in the air, preparing his blade to slice the blast breath, okay? And so with that being said, it's not that amazing. He did damage Kaido, which is pretty cool. Kaido got like a little cut right here. However, we take a look into the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard. Before the war with Marineford even started, the man had already had cuts and slashes and impalements on him already, and that's just Whitebeard. And Whitebeard, he's not invincible. Of course, he's not really invincible. We already seen that. However, it was just the point that slash attacks seem to do the most damage to the Yonkos. And so with slash attacks doing the most damage to the Yonkos, I don't really see it as a feat, especially if Kinemon is supposed to have Ryo, and Ryo was the thing that Luffy said was going to be what the main thing Luffy said he was going to use to take down Kaido. So it doesn't really surprise me that much. I thought Kinemon activated Ryo because he cut Kaido, but I didn't really see any inclinations of it being activated, so it's still kind of up in the air for that. The way I see Kinemon and him fighting Kaido, just because he could damage him doesn't mean anything. Just like you have we all know what the NBA is. Certain basketball players are just going to be at a higher plateau than other basketball players, and that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now. So what I realized with Kaido is literally like Luffy. Slash attacks works against Kaido's, but Kaido seems to be a lot more tanky to brute force attacks. So that's why when he fell from Sky Island, it didn't really do anything to him because it was a brute force attack or a brute force fall. And when Luffy was beating him up, all he did was, even with all the barrages of hits, he was only able to punch Kaido sober. Kinemon, me personally, I know for a fact that Luffy's stronger than Kinemon in my opinion. If you think it's something else, you let me know in the comments below. But I believe that Luffy is stronger than Kinemon. And so for Kinemon to actually do that with he got two different types of damage on Kaido. He got the stab, and then he got the slice that he just did to Kaido right now, when Luffy didn't do anything. And that's what makes me to believe that Kaido is weaker against slash attacks than he is against brute force attacks or blunt force attacks. Just like pretty much how Luffy is. If Luffy's gonna become an emperor in not only Morgan's name, but in actual power, he has to be able to put down Kaido. That's the end all be all. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of the chapter 991, and it's called "Please Let Us Die." As Odin, this part I'm adding, as Odin Samurai. But anyway, it's been your boy Wolfnar. Join the Cosmic Wolf Pack. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the chapter.